So for today, I'm starting the review process, and it's basically going to be a review for the test. Let's start off with some easy ones. The first thing we have to know is about exponents. So let's just say we had 2a to the third and b to the fourth, and we put that all to the third power. Everybody write that question down. Write out what you think the answer is, zoom in on it, and then compare it with the kid across from you in your row. Rows 1 and 2, and the rows 3 and 4. Sometimes you have to go kitty corner because there's nobody directly across from you, but all right, pausing. Okay, for the red problem here, I'm going to call it problem B. On problem B, Kai, can you tell me how you thought this through? Like, what do you think goes where and stuff?
You put the a to the negative second to the bottom. And
Yep.
b to the negative fourth to the top.
When you move them, do they stay negative or do they become positive?
They become positive.
So final answer, and I want to see what you do with that 8. So final answer.
B to the fourth over a to the second.
Perfect. Now some kids moved the 8 because they thought that the 8 and the b were like married together, stuck forever. They're not. The 8 can stay on the bottom. All right. How many of you had that one right? Okay, good. We're on a roll so far. Next one. These are harder. 8 to the negative second times 4 to the x is equal to 2 to the third. That's 3 different bases. But you really want it to all be one base. Once you have them all have the same one base, then the bases will just disappear and it'll just be the exponents. All right, I'll pause for a minute while you give that one a try. Okay, I know some of you probably didn't catch this, but they all could be 2 to a power. And the last one's 2 to the third, so obviously that one doesn't have to change. But this one would be 2 squared, but to the x, gotta bring the x down. And then this one could be 2 to the third to the negative second. Process that. Do you understand how they all could be written as a 2? Okay, now those 2's can disappear. Boom, boom, boom. And you got to know what to do to these 2. Is it 3 minus 2? No. What is it? It's 3 times negative 2. So that makes negative 6. And now you got to know what to do with the x. Plus the x. But not just an x. 2x is equal to 3. Do you get that I had to make these 2 go together? Do you get you add exponents that are like that? I think some of you might have forgot the plus in there, but okay, and then the final answer, I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And I get 2x equals 9, x equals 9 over 2. Who had 9 over 2 before I ever said it? All right, cool. Okay, next one I want to practice. This one's a little weirder. What if I had 5 to the x is equal to 1? There's 2 ways to do this. I'll tell you that the answer was 0. Who had the answer of 0? It's about half of you. Now, if you didn't know that, then I want you to think through. One of the ways to do this is just to think. 5 to the first power, is that 1? No, 5 to the first power is 5. 5 to the second is even gonna get bigger. It's 25. 5 to the third, way too big. So I'm going the wrong way. It must be less than 5 to the 1. And then you might think 5 to the negative 1? Would that work? No. 5 to the negative 1 would be 1/5. Oh, 5 to the 0 power would be 1. So x equals 0. Another way you could do it is like this. Remember I said make the bases the same? Isn't 1 the same as 5 to the 0 power? Now do you get that x equals 0? Raise your hand if you think I can go on, because you get that. Okay. All right. Now, what if I said I had 12 to the 2x equals 12 to the x minus 7? Don't overthink this. I've already made them have the same base, so I made your problem not that bad. Solve. Okay, so these just are gone right away. And it's 2x equals x minus 7. Subtract x from both sides. X equals negative 7. Raise your hand if you had. X equals negative 7. Okay, awesome. You guys are rocking this. All right, here's another one. And I'm going to make this definitely tougher. Now, do you remember that thing I told you to take the screenshot of yesterday? That little chart? On there, this would help a lot. This is the hardest one yet. My first hint is that this should be x to some fraction. I made question marks. And this is just a number. All right, once you figure that one out, then just use the chart to figure out this one. These are completely separate problems. I'll call this R and this F. They are completely separate problems. Try to answer R and F. So you should have thought, oh, I remember doing these yesterday. This is x to the 3 over 2. If you had that backwards, it's very common, but that's the right way to write it. The root goes on the bottom. That's the root. That goes on the bottom. The root goes on the bottom, just like in plants. And who figured out what the cube root of 216 was? Yes?
6.
It was 6. Now, I'm supposed to solve this? All right, so I'm going to put it to the power of something. What power would destroy 3 over 2? 2 over 3. 2 over 3. And I know some of you are thinking, but I can't do the third root of 6. You're right. So you just leave it that way. Nobody knows what the third root of 6 is. Third root of 6 is not 2. If you thought the third root of 6 was 2, no, that's the third root of 8 would be 2. So you're done. If you got stuck right here, you weren't stuck. You just had the answer. Who got it down to 6 to the 2/3? All right, awesome. Then the other problem I assigned you was this. And on that one, you can do the third root of 125. If you use that little chart, awesome. That's going to be 5. Can I just be done? It's 5? No. It's 5 to the negative 2, because I haven't done the top part yet. Now, which do you like better? Lydia, do you think you would want to square it first, or would you rather do the negative exponent part first?
I would rather do the negative exponent.
And what would the negative exponent, the negative on there, what would that do to it?
It would make it 25.
The 2 would make it 25, but I want to know what the other thing would do.
Oh yeah, so it moved down to the bottom, so the final answer would be 1.
You are correct. Now, the way I think that through, I personally like to square it first, and that's the 5 squared part. Would it be the 25? and then it's this negative that puts the 1 over. Either way, the answer is 1 over 25. Raise your hand if you had 1 over 25. Dang, you guys are kicking butt on this stuff. I'm impressed. Okay, so here's another tougher one then. Not like harder than you have to know. Like you just have to know how to do all the types of questions I've been doing with you. 5x to the negative third m squared to the fifth all over 15 x to the fourth m. When there's a hard problem, divide it in parts and just do one thing at a time. Like do that 5 over 15 part, then handle your x part, then handle your m part, and see what you get. This time, I'm going to again ask you to show it to the person sitting across from you and see if their answer is the same as your answer. So I have a student answering here, and he says we start with a 1 over a 3 because that's what 5 and 15 do. I agree. 5 times 3 is 15. I like to factor it because if you can factor it, you should. And those cancel, and I get 1 over 3. All right. I like it. Now I got to get my x's. How about Kiernan? How would you describe the x thing to somebody?
The negative x to the negative 3 flips before you do anything with it, so you end up with
It goes down there.
x to the 7 on the bottom.
You are correct. That's it. And how about Josh? How about the m's?
You would do m to the second.
This part, what do you do with them?
You times them.
So that makes m to the 10th on top, but you got an m to the 1 on the bottom. So what are you going to do?
M to the 10th minus m.
All right. So we got, this is really m to the 10th over m to the 1. What's the final answer?
M to the 9th on the top.
You got it. There's my answer. Do I have to have the 1? Nope. Who had the, if he's wrong, we got to know. Who had the exact same thing as I have? All right. If you didn't, then ask me. Are you not sure? Is something wrong? Because something could be wrong with this. Yes?
Do you need to add the 1 on the top?
Nope. M to the 9th or 1m to the 9th are the same thing. So that's a good question. Lydia?
For the m's, why wouldn't you do like 2 minus 1, like before the 2 times 5?
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, the question was, if we have an m to the 2 and it's to the 5th, and then we have all over an m, she was asking, why can't you do this part first before you do the power? It comes down to the order of operations. You see, the order of operations makes you do the whole top of your problem before you go to the bottom. So you have to finish the whole top first, which makes this m to the 10th. Then you can start looking at combining it with the bottom. But it's the order of operations. So you just do your big fractions to get the whole top done, and then you do the bottom, and then you can like mix them. So this did come out to m to the 9th. All right. Any other questions about that one? Okay, then one more challenge question. Not like bonus, just like kind of hard. 3x minus 4 to the 3/4 power is equal to, let me think. $24. Now, some people are right away going to put it to the 4/3 power, and they're wrong. Something has to happen first. Lottie, do you know what's supposed to happen first?
Divide by 3.
You are correct. You're supposed to divide by 3 first. How many of you knew that? I'm curious. Okay. So my student is solving this thing, and she says that we should put it to the 4/3 power. Why did you pick 4/3?
Because
or it's called the reciprocal, very good. And then this and this will cancel. And then I have x minus 4, but I don't really need the parentheses. If you guys didn't know that, if there's nothing outside the parentheses, then you don't need the parentheses. But this part is going to be a trouble spot for some people. Max, do you remember how to do this part? The 8 part?
Yeah, I do, I think.
What's the third root of 8?
2.
And then you do what?
2 to the 4th.
And you got it. So third root of 8 is 2. 2 to the 4th is 16. And then I hope you added 4 to both sides. Who had x equals 20? You guys are solving some pretty hard problems here. That's really cool. Okay. So, that's our review. Here's a couple other trick questions that get people a lot of times. 4x times x to the 3rd, y to the 7th, all to the 0. What's that equal? Don't say it. Think it through. To the 0? What does that mean again? Or when it's just like a ridiculous number. And I'm going to make this blue to make it really clear. That's another trick question. Let's get the first one over with. Just this part turns into anything to the 0 power turns into 1. So that's just 4x. Who knew that was just 4x? Okay, good. Now everybody try this other one. And remember, you can use that chart. Told you to take a picture of it. We'll give you one of those charts on the test, but you won't have a calculator on the test. Okay, this first one. You don't square it. Do you remember that you can do these in any order you want, which is weird for a math teacher to say, but you can either do the squaring or you can do the 4th rooting. Now you might be like, I don't know what the 4th root of 1296 is, but if you look on the sheet, you would. That thing you took the screenshot of, the little power chart, the 4th root of 1296 is on there. What is it? Somebody knows it.
6.
6. So then I have 6, but I haven't squared it yet. Oh, that's easy. 6 squared, 36. Do you get, you'll have a chart that you could have looked up the 4th root of 1296? All right. So how many of you actually have this chart, except you took the screenshot of it and you actually have that screenshot? All right, good. Then that's going to help for your homework. All right, this was good practice. You could theoretically have taken the test tomorrow, and I think it would have been okay. But I think it'll be even better when we take a practice test tomorrow, and then we'll go over that practice test on Friday, and then you'll take the test on Monday. Just so you know, there are some classes that are behind ours, so that if you have some friends might be actually taking the test on Tuesday or Wednesday, but we're not like way ahead, but we are testing on Monday. Some classes are behind and they'll test on Tuesday. All right, that's all I got for you for today. I suppose I should record what the homework is, so hold on for that. Okay, for the recording here, the homework for today is in the folder called September 29. and it says review for the test. And then there's a Unit 2 review worksheet. And after that, you will see a test review key. And you can use that to even grade it. But you'll know whether you did a good job or not. So Dropbox that, and that is a homework score due tomorrow.